there, I'm Cherry Sourface, and thank you for clicking on this video. I decided to try recording the process of making my second fursuit. Now, just a warning before we get into this video, things did not go as planned, at all. My first fursuit, the one I'm wearing right now, I'm very proud of. She took 6 months and only $60-ish worth of supplies. The one I'm making in this video took around 7 or 8 months and $100 worth of supplies. So that can already tell you a little about how this experience compares to my first. Anyways, let's get into making a fursuit. So, this fursuit will be for my sister. Her fursona is an Albert squirrel with similar patterns to that of a Provost squirrel. Here you can see where I started. Before filming, I finished the foam head base. I used a combination of Sky High Studios bucket head base and an altered version of Freecount Studios sphere base. She wanted a kimono style suit, but with the eyes closer together. Cute.
Strawberry sweet, a taste of delight, juicy and red.
Here you can see me start to pin and sew the lining. I'm pretty new to this, so don't judge me. By the way, working on a project like this while filming is very hard. It was such a unique experience. I had to film vertically and leave my phone up against the machine. And side note, I broke my mom's super expensive sewing machine while making my fursuit suit, and I don't even know how. Maybe I hit a pin or got it jammed with fur. Either way, I'm super careful with this cheaper machine, making sure to stop and pull out every pin. And guess what? The whole time, it wasn't even sewing. My bobbin ran out of thread and betrayed me. I had to rewind it. The second time, I did it without filming so I could focus. And ta-da! There's the lining, besides the eyes. Anyone else had this problem where your pins constantly break and you're now stuck with a pin in your suit? Just me? Anyways, I was able to get it out. Oh, funny story, because my sister's fursona has such specific colors, we struggled to find fabric that matched. We opted to try dyeing it with fabric spray paint. To say the least, it didn't work. The fur became sticky and tangled, and the can didn't cover the full 3/4 yard. Luckily, we were using $6 fabric from Walmart to test it out, so it wasn't a huge loss. Back to the lining, guess what? I forgot to account for seam allowance, and after gluing the whole thing in, I realized it was way too small. So I had to take it out and try again. I made a new pattern, even though I could have used the old one, just to have a fresh start. And there's the lining. I made it the right size this time and glued in the eyes, which I finished before filming. Minor setback, I glued the pink eye in upside down, so I had to cut it out and glue it back in. During the process of this, the plastic started to come off and I had to re-glue it. Now it was finally time to make the pattern. I taped up half the head and both eyes, which was an absolute pain in the butt. Then, after untaping one ear, I decided this isn't going to work. Just look at this. So I took a different direction and ripped off the fluffs to sew them on later. This was a pretty big gamble, so I was kind of scared. Motivation was so low that I actually finished the tail and glued the magnets in the head. I went a little crazy with the magnets. At first, I was just doing eyelids, but then I realized, what if I make a magnetic mouth that can be removed? I also added magnets to the cheeks. Time for fur. It took forever to transfer all the patterns to the fur, like literal weeks, because I didn't want to do it. But then it was time to shave. I wanted to use 3 different lengths, short for places like the face, medium for places like the ears, and long for the back of the head. By the way, I used these clippers for all of 2 seconds before deciding to go out and buy some new ones, because these tiny things were not made for this. Just look at it. Lesson learned, just pay the extra $10 the first time. Now time to sew it all together. Ta-da! Ooh, it's looking so good. Okay, now for the ears. I had to hand sew 20 tufts of fur and hand sew them onto the base of the ear. This was a labor of love and took forever, but it turned out so good. I even made a cute little accessory out of beads, ribbon, and a clip from Hot Topic. Now before we glue that all on, let's make some eyelids. Super easy, no problems, except the magnets aren't sticking. My magnets weren't strong enough to work through the thick fabric, which I probably should have tested before making them. Luckily, I realized that if I just removed the felt from the back of the eyelids, the magnets would stick. The bond isn't very strong, but it's a bond. Okay, future update, I actually replaced the magnets with Velcro. Still not the strongest bond, but it's an improvement. Boom, all glued on, and the ear tufts were falling off. I used a hidden stitch and connected each tuft in 3 different places, but apparently the stitch wasn't very strong and like 10 tufts fell off. So I had to reattach all of those with a stronger stitch. It kind of sucked. Halfway through, I decided that I wanted the face to be shaved shorter. So here's me doing that. It was quite frustrating and took forever. No matter what I did, I couldn't get it smooth, especially around the seams. And of course, I shaved it too short in some places. So I went out and bought felting needles, and guess what? Watch this. Bald spot, poke, poke, poke. I poked it more off camera. And then some light brushing, and it all fell out. We'll get to fixing that later. So anyways, the shaving was a struggle. I don't know if it was the clippers, I tried 2 different kinds, the fur, or just my lack of skill. I decided to try and use a hidden stitch and just stitch closed all the bald spots. But it was looking so ugly. Despite taking months, mostly due to lack of motivation, I decided that the hidden stitch method wasn't going to work and I just needed to sew a new face. So I went to Hobby Lobby, bought some cheap fur, shaved it down very carefully, and stitched it on top of the old fabric around the edges. And it looks so much better. Why didn't I just do this in the first place? Then I re-glued the eyelashes, which I added glitter to a little while back. And by this point, half the ear tufts had fallen out. I had a choice to make. Really, my sister had a choice to make. We decided to just remove all the ear tufts. Despite all the trouble they caused us, I couldn't find a way to securely attach them. Okay, ready for the finished product? Ta-da! Except this isn't the finished product. Remember how I was going to have removable magnetic mouths? Well, that wasn't a terrible idea, but we had a problem. My sister couldn't breathe. Even after adding a fan, she could only wear the suit in like 1-minute increments. So, I did what had to be done. I cut a hole where the mouth should be and added a small mesh mouth for her to breathe out of, which significantly increased the comfort of the suit. I was so scared this would ruin the suit, but it still turned out cute. Now, here's the final product. I'm quite proud of her. She looks adorable, but she was quite the struggle to make. However, I still had so much fun with her, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to make such a unique suit. There were some moments where I was worried it wouldn't turn out, but it all worked out in the end. Everyone meet Claire. My sister actually ended up wearing this suit to Anthro Week in Utah, but still struggled with the breathability and heat. So, next year I'll make a new suit for her. Stay tuned. Remember, this was only my second suit, and I know there were a lot of stupid mistakes, but there were already things I improved on from making my first. And guess what? Remember how I said motivation was low for this suit? Well, halfway through, I started working on another one, and the quality of my suits goes like swoosh. Like, Cherry was here, Claire was here, and my latest one is up here. So it's so exciting to see my improvement. I didn't film the making of this latest one, but I'll still make a video to show it off, so stick around for that. Thank you for watching. Cherry loves you. Please don't leave and never come back.